Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mindful Reality TV from a mental health perspective. It's Friday. Remember that song with Rebecca Black where she was like, "It's Friday, Friday." I don't know any other song that she did, but I know that song. That song is that's just etched in my mind. I'm glad it's Friday. I made it through the week, honestly and strangely. The high that I felt this week, the good feelings that I felt this week, they've been here all week, and many things have happened this week that should have made me feel away like I have felt previous weeks, but not this week. I was unbothered all week, Monday, Sunday through Friday, knock on wood, because it's not like Friday's over. This is the part of the day when I'm always kind of generally unbothered unless something happened the previous day that is carrying in to today, but that's not the case this time. I felt good. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's all good because I found some way to take some bad circumstances and flip them around into something different. So that's where we're at with it. Now, on to this business here. I like going to bed on Thursday and waking up. It's kind of strange because when I first started becoming a live feeder during BB24, I would not go to bed and then get back up. Matter of fact, I think that I even recall that they didn't wait that long before you knew. I felt like you knew before midnight. I might be mistaken, but I feel like during the BB24 season, the comps would happen like right after the episode ended. Like Julie would be like, "Let's have a live look into the HOH comp." I feel like that's what was happening before. And then they changed it to this whole thing of, the AI comp and then the elimination. And then after that, the HOH taking place like the next day for those of us who are in the East Coast. But for those in the West Coast, I guess it takes place like right after the episode. But they still don't do that whole let's have a live look in at the HOH comp because it doesn't seem to start right away. That's why I'm just waiting for the double eviction, man. Because Thursdays have not really been providing the excitement that I usually get. Because I'm always like, Thursday's my favorite day. But then they have that dumb AI comp, which kills a lot of momentum to me. And then they already went through all the scenarios. If these two are up, this one goes home. If these two are up, this one goes home. It hasn't been completely unanimous, but I think I don't know what we would classify as a blind side from this season. Because Cedric, I don't think that was really a blind side. It was a flip, but it wasn't really a blind side. Um, Lisa was kind of a blind side in the sense that she didn't know about it, but I consider blind sides like a group of people decide that they're going to take somebody out, and then they're like, I have the votes, and then another group unexpectedly overpowers them. So I don't think that we even had really a true blind side. We had a 8-1 vote yesterday to get Brooklyn out, so everyone knew that was going to happen. But T Core T-Core is your new HOH, and that presents a lot of interesting possibilities. Good morning, Lewis. I think the double eviction will probably be, yeah, probably. That makes sense. But anyways, T-Core winning the HOH is a very interesting scenario. I'm glad that it was somebody different, and I'm glad that it's T-Core. The reason I'm glad that it's T-Core is because it's somebody who hasn't won before, and I kept saying, I hope T-Core is not somebody whose BB fate kind of goes like Mimi. where you listen to her talk and she has such amazing reads on the game. Looks like she's going to be in position to make some moves, going into jury and stuff, but then she just never wins anything. So, what are we going into week? How many? Five people have been out so far, right? So, are we week, what, week six? Is this week six? That's not a bad time to win HOH, to be honest with you. Um, this is actually quite a critical time in the game. So we don't know who the three picks are going to be. We know one of them is going to be Mr. Tucker because Tucker volunteered himself again. And I was talking to some people this morning and I was thinking this out and I was thinking to myself, a lot of people are like, I love the way that Tucker is so bold and I love the way that Tucker volunteers himself. I feel like it's a power and a control thing because if you remember when Cedric was HOH and Tucker volunteered to be on the block, he was kind of like it was kind of a flex. Like I'm going to win the power veto, and then when I do that, this is who I want you to put up to flush out that power. And then when he didn't do that and he put up MJ instead, Tucker was all mad. You're my number one target now. You're a snake. You're this and you're that, right? So I feel like it's his way to still maintain a feeling of control when he's not in control because he's sitting here like there's slim chances of me not being able to win two cops to get myself off the block. So I'll volunteer, I'll be the team player. It's kind of manipulative in a way, but it's working, so I can't even hate on his game. Oh, I like OTEV. Yeah, I like OTEV. You might have to give me 1 second. Oh, I have enough. I think I have enough battery left because I'm not going to be on here terribly long. Yeah, I like OTEV. There's a few competitions that I like. I like OTEV. I like Hide and Go Veto. Um, uh, what's it called? I kind of like the spelling one. Strangely, I don't know what that one is called. Good morning, Colleen. I like the spelling competition. I obviously like Zingbot, even though sometimes lately Zingbot has been lacking a little bit in the funny department. Uh, oh, I like BB. I love BB Comics. BB Comics is a cool one always. There's only a few comps that I like, honestly. There's not too many, but OTEV is one of them. OTEV is a pretty cool comp that I like. But yeah, I would think that Tucker would win OTEV. I said it last time. People were like, "Oh, who do you think is going to win the power veto?" Not last time actually, yeah, last time because Tucker was also in the power veto competition, even though he was HOH. I was like, it's going to be Tucker. Tucker has won like such a variety of different things that I always just think he's gonna win. Um, but I still remember when Michael was winning everything. And I still remember this conversation that Monty was having with Turner, where he was like, it just takes one loss. And so many different vloggers that I've been seeing and so many just different fans are like, Tucker has double eviction loss written all over him. Like I could see the way Tucker losing in this game being like double eviction comes and he wins the first one and then takes somebody out and then when he doesn't have power in the second one somebody else wins and then they kind of blindside him. And I sure hope that by the time we get to double eviction that there's no AI comp because that would totally ruin double eviction, giving somebody two chances to get off the block. And I don't even think they'd have time for that. Realistically, like imagine having two AI comps back to back on a live episode. So I think that AI comp will be done by then. My guess, and I have no idea, but my guess is that they're gonna get rid of AI comp by jury. Because I mean, there's not gonna be enough people for you to do that. Makes no sense. Most definitely the veto comp. Oh yeah, yeah, and I like that. I like that one. What is that? Yeah, the one where you get the chance to trade. You can either get the veto or you can trade it for whatever, and then you see what people's values are, like what they think is important. I still remember that season where that guy Kevin, um, what was that comp? I feel like they were holding on to a tree or something like that, and he had a chance to secretly take $25,000, and he took it. I was like, that's legendary because that's guaranteed money right there. I've heard that too, but I don't think that they are involved in the game. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but I don't think there's twin twist in this game. And if there is, I mean, they would both be doing an amazing job at maintaining that. But I don't think so because when there's an actual twin twist, the audience knew about the twin twist. Julie told us about the twin twist. It was the house guests that didn't know. So far fetched. But yeah, I let T Core doesn't know the three people that she's gonna put up. She's gone through a lot of scenarios. People have offered up names to her. Some people have told her to put up Chelsea and Cam. Some people have told her MJ. It seems like MJ could be one of her picks. She said that she would not put up Chelsea and Cam again. And I think she has a loyalty to Chelsea specifically. Cam, I don't know. Cam could go up. I'm not sure. We don't know which direction this is gonna go because T-Core is the person I've watched talk the most game. T-Core and Chemo. Like because I sit up most of what I've seen on the feeds this year, because I have been missing a lot of feed stuff, but I see like a lot of T-Core and Chemo, and they go in so many different directions that it's hard to even get a read on what you'd want to do. I don't know if she would want to play the safe game and just get out somebody that she's not aligned with, the person or people that she talks the least game with, or if she's going to want to make a power move. I don't know if she's going to want to, if she's going to want to, but I don't know if she is going to conform to Tucker because I've realized like that's the point I was just about to make. Tucker likes to control other people's HOHs by volunteering to go on the block. He spins it a different way. Oh, don't worry about it. We're in this together. I'm going to volunteer. It makes one less choice for you. You know I'm going to win the veto, blah, blah, blah. But then the condition of him going on the block and volunteering himself is like, if I sacrifice myself to go on this block, then you have to backdoor this person. And I don't really know who that person would be this week. I know that he would probably want Chelsea out, but I know that T Core wouldn't want Chelsea out. So maybe this would be the Quinn or the Cam week for him. Remember in BB24? Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that. They were pissed. They hated that Taylor did that. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know why people get mad about those things though, because it's like, I don't know, like when you get a house full of Big Brother players, some of the people is just the nature of the game. Some people are like, I would give anything for this win. Like, I want to win this game so bad. Some people are just like, I'm just happy to be here. Some people are like, I just want to get my social media clout. Some people are like, if there's a chance for any prizes before the end of the game, I'm going to take the prizes because I don't think I'm going to win. It is what it is, you know? I feel like, though, if I was in the Big Brother house, my objective is to win the game. I don't care about the prizes. I don't care about any of the other stuff. I don't care about taking 5K. You know what I mean? Like 5K I can win 5K I can earn in a month. Like 5K I do earn in a month. So it's not like money that I can't see outside of the game. Now, the 25,000 that Kevin took in one day, that's another story. Even if he maybe got half of it through taxes, if I got 13K, 13, 14K after taxes, just I get that money right now, I would take that into consideration. But like a 5K, a trip to Europe, I feel like I would already think before I get on the show how I could use these opportunities being on the show and getting the exposure to be able to get me things when I leave. So I would be more focused on just getting to the end of the game. So yeah, I don't really have much more than that. T-Core is the HOH. We're gonna find out this afternoon what selections that she's gonna make. I'm gonna try to jump back on here. I think that I'm pretty clear. I did say that last Friday, and a lot of stuff happened Friday that made me not clear to come back on for this, but I think this Friday is like a better Friday. So I should be able to hop on and, break down what I think of T-Core's selections when she makes them. And I can't say when because it feels like it keeps changing. Like I remember one time I used to be able to peg it for like 2 to 3 p.m. Then it started going to like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. I think production just kind of picks and chooses. Oh, one more thing that I wanted to say before I go that is annoying me and bothering me. We heard Tucker say very early on, like one of the first couple of weeks, that Leah made inappropriate comments and she was warned about those comments, right? We've heard other house guests allude to that. And then they showed some footage yesterday of who was T-Core talking to? T-Core was talking to somebody about more comments that Leah had made and that Leah had gotten multiple warnings about the comments and that the comments were race related. One thing I don't like is production meddling with what's happening in the house. What makes Big Brother the animal, the machine that it has become is the fact that we can look in at those live feeds and see what's happening with these house guests in real time. They took away our replays. Cool. I don't like that because I miss a lot more now than before because with my schedule, I'm not able to sit down for hours at a time anymore unless it's nighttime, like late at night. I'm not able to sit down hours at a time anymore and watch the feeds. So what I used to be able to do was I would check all those Twitter pages that give the highlights, and then I would just find the timestamps and I would sit there and watch the whole conversation after work or early in the morning. Now I can't do that. So that sucks. But then the other part is that I think it's bad for multiple reasons. One is the fan part of it. Like as a fan, you want to see whatever is going on. Within reason. There's obviously parts that they have to cut out, but they apparently cut out Rubina and Tucker hooking up. They cut out whatever statements it is that Leah made, whatever racial statements it is that she made that the house guests keep talking about. Um, in a sense, it doesn't really protect that house guest. Like, for instance, they're acting like that's protecting Leah, but now the fans are going wild with it. So she's gonna come out and people are gonna be like, "You're racist." And then she has, these contracts that don't really allow you to say things. So what are you really gonna say? They're gonna be like, if you talk about this, we're gonna sue you. It's in the contract. That's how it works. So it's not really doing her any favors. Okay. Yeah, it turned off. My computer turned off at 8%. That's kind of crazy. Um, I was just in the middle. I was just in the middle of my rant, but I'm just gonna wrap this up anyways. I hate using my phone, even though this is what my main thing that I was using before. Anyways, yeah, what I was just saying is they're gonna come out and they're gonna call her racist. She's not gonna be able to really defend herself in a specific way because they're gonna threaten her, whatever. That's one part of it, right? So the thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, the safety and the safe space of the house guests themselves. So now, if you are going to cut out potentially volatile incidents from the feeds, right? We're not going to actually see or hear what happened. And now you have to still be in the house with said person. So they're kind of showing you with that their main thing is to protect their product and their brand versus protecting you, the person who signs up and volunteers your life for this horrific social experiment. And I know that obviously the brand, there's money involved and they want to keep the show going and they don't want to lose sponsors and they don't want to lose viewers and stuff, but I don't know, like they're losing me a little bit with that. I've got to say, and I've got to say, this is the least invested I've been in the feed since being a feeder, which has not been long. I always admit that. I became a feeder. I started watching the feeds on BB23, but I didn't really become a true feeder until BB24. I was obsessed with the feeds on BB24. This is not the case for me this year. Even last year, I found the feeds to be pretty interesting, at least up until the last 6 weeks. Those were terrible. But the first like 6, 7 weeks or so, loved the feeds. Yeah, pretty much. I've been watching less and less. We haven't heard it. Yeah, exactly. We haven't heard it because I feel like they've been cutting out more. And I don't think the feeds are live anymore. Like, it's probably, tape delayed. So we're not hearing that's true. We're not hearing, please do not talk about production. Like, it's so much more filtered. I think the cameras are way more filtered than before. And that's disappointing because the less I see on the feeds is the less I'm interested in the show. The only way that I've been able to keep myself into the show at all is just the fact that I'm focusing on the gameplay aspect. And, I like the gameplay, but I also like everything else. I like seeing how they interact. I like seeing who's into who. And I like seeing which showmances form. I like seeing how those showmances then impact the gameplay. I like seeing the fights. I like seeing every piece of it. That's what we're here for, right? That's to me, that's the only thing that made me like Big Brother in the first place. Because my mom was always a Big Brother fan. She still is. And my mom would be watching Big Brother. I would see it on TV. She's not a feeder. I would see it on TV. I remember one time I tried to give it like half an episode and I was like, this is so boring. Why would anybody watch this show? This show is lame. That's what I thought. That's what I said for years. Then one day I turn on these feeds and I'm watching these feeds. And at first it felt weird. I'm like, I feel like I'm a security guard or something. Like this feels like a weird invasion of privacy, being able to watch people and then they're walking into the shower and then we see them all their bathroom tendencies. Um, we see them in the bedroom, we see them in the kitchen cooking and we're zooming in and all this stuff. Um, but then after a while, I was like, I can't look away. I understand why people get obsessed with Big Brother because the amount of hours I clocked watching Big Brother 24 feeds, incredible. I told Turner when I saw him, like, y'all see, because of y'all season, I was sleeping 1 to 2 hours a night. I know, right? And that was a big thing that happened. Yeah, the "We'll be right back" cut so much that I definitely turn it off. Like I said, I credit all the people that have so much patience to just sit there, and it's like the feeds go off for 30 minutes, and then they come back on for 5. Then they go back off for like an hour, they come back on for 10 minutes. I feel like this season has been the most censored of any season that I've seen by far. Because there's so many instances of these house guests coming back on and talking about things that we are not seeing. Oh, this conversation, remember when this one shouldn't have said that. This rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like this. Oh, it was Tikor and Rubina, actually. It was Tikor and Rubina talking. Tikor and Rubina were talking, and Tikor was like, Chelsea was crying. Rubina was like, yeah. And Tikor was like, was it over, the thing? You know, was it over the insensitive comments? Yeah, yeah. The about that. Like the race related ones. Like she was being so careful because they probably were all warned. Like even though Leah said it, they were probably warned. Like don't talk about that. Like production probably told them you're not allowed to talk about that. Similarly to after the Luke thing happened. Remember last year when people would start speaking about it in other rooms, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to a "we'll be right back" screen. So it's like now they're trying to get ahead of it, but they're taking away at least my enjoyment because I can't watch something that keeps cutting in and out. I love being able to get a full picture of things. I love being able to hear, okay, this is the argument, right? And then I love being able to see the actual argument in full and then watch the person who was in the argument or the people who were in the argument go into other rooms, explain the argument to other people and see the version of it that they give, and then to see what those people do with that version of it. Like that's all part of the intrigue for me. There's too many pieces missing. I agree. I agree. We had an earthquake here, actually. You know what's funny, Lewis? We had an earthquake here in New York. When was it? I can't even remember. May, June? It was a few months ago, and my mom felt it at home. I was actually in the car on my way to a client, and then my phone, my work phone, started just pinging out of control. Ding, 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 ding. I was like, "Oh shoot, did I miss a meeting or something?" I open it up. Somebody was like, "New York is doing the Harlem Shake." I'm like, "What does that mean?" And then all of a sudden, I see this earthquake information. I didn't even feel it where I was at, but then a lot of people on the road said that they didn't feel it. Yeah, it seems like most of it has been censored for sure. I've been mostly catching my Big Brother stuff from like from these Twitter clips. And Twitter clips are cool, but I like being able to just watch it straight from the feeds. I don't like catching breakdowns and recaps either. Like I appreciate the people who create those, but it's it's like what happened mixed in with personal opinions about what happened. And I don't mind that if I can see it for myself. Like if I can go watch the whole thing for myself and then watch your opinion on it, I'm cool with that. But if all I have is like this combination of your opinion and like it's like a skewed version is what I'm trying to say. I'm not gonna name this person because I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but there's this one vlogger. I saw his vlog about something a day or two ago, and over the years of watching these vloggers, I know basically most of the major vloggers of Big Brother, and there's only a few of them that I can count on to be very objective with what they're saying, and he's not one of them. What he says is entertaining. Definitely give him that. I know a lot of y'all watch this person. He's entertaining, but when I was able to actually see the feeds in their entirety, in fact, sometime in some parts of this season, I did watch feeds and watch some of the things that he was describing, and I was like, hmm. But I just find people to be like that in general. I don't even equate that to specifically being like a Big Brother thing. Like, I'm the person who, if I'm in a room when something is happening, I describe it with 90% accuracy of what happened. And the reason I say 90% is my mind's not a computer. So there's a 10% chance of error or not saying something verbatim, that kind of thing. But I just mean, I give a full picture of the whole incident. And some people give a version of the incident that is based on who they like. Oh, that worked. There we go. Based on who they like and who they don't like. I don't need to hear that version. Like when I do my recaps, You might not be able to tell, but I don't watch anybody else's videos before I do my recap. I might watch some videos after I do my recap, but my recap are my own unfiltered thoughts of what I felt like in that moment, because you get on and you watch somebody else, your opinion is already influenced to a degree. Even if you don't agree with with what they're saying, it still influences or sways you in some kind of way. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not really the same anymore. I think BB24 was basically the last season that was, and I felt like that season was censored, but compared to this one, duh, like I still remember when the Kyle thing happened, they cut out a lot of conversations, but they showed some powerful conversations between like Taylor and Kyle, between Monty and Kyle, Terrence and Kyle. Like they had some moments, man. They showed a steamy showmance, like they showed quite a bit of stuff, even though I wish it was like totally uncensored. Um, it was way less censored than this season. I'm remember watching. I'm sure you get a lot of quakes over there. I just switched to Big Brother Boy and it's T-Core Yippee. I won't feel it unless it's a 5. I forget what ours was. It might have been a 3 point something. Could have been. I'm not influenced. I'm too biased. That's not true. I mean, I'm not specifically saying that of you, but the human brain just intakes things. And even if you don't realize that you're influenced in any way, there's still some kind of influence. Like once you see it, once you hear somebody talking about it, it sends you in a direction. Even if you don't agree with what the person is saying, maybe it'll send you in the opposite direction, but it's going to have some kind of influence on you. Northridge was huge. Wow. I have 15 minutes before I have to log into work. I didn't even think I'd be on here this long. Season 1, I've heard. I wish I was watching back then, to tell you the truth. I really wish that I was watching back then. And then everyone has told me about, what is it? Big Brother After Dark, where they would just show everything. Somebody was telling me about like Big Brother After Dark, and then when it became an online thing, and they said there was like a chat and it turned on after midnight or something like that. Um, season 1 was on Real Player. I wonder if I could find it somewhere. After Dark was the best. No, because if they agree with me, they agree, and if they don't, they don't agree, then they can eat poo poo. BB After Dark was so fun to fall asleep to. Yeah, when I started, we already had the censored version of Big Brother. It was good on Showtime and then the Pop channel. I said I was gonna stop doing shout outs, and for the most part I am, but Big Brother Boy, as I talk about how he's quirky and stuff. Um he puts a lot of work into what he does, honestly. Like I have to give him credit as a one person team, as I am, because some people have teams of people that help them do this, but as a one person team, if you look at his body of work, at least from the time I've been watching, I remember times that he made like PowerPoints. Um, He takes all these notes, he does all this research, he's up on everything, makes videos every day. Like, as somebody who has now been doing this for a couple of years, it's hard to do when you have things to do outside of YouTube. And I don't know how people take it when I say that. But truthfully, it's hard for me to keep up with doing this. It really is. This is my third season, and I remember season one, I covered a lot of it based on the excitement of getting a fan base. And, I was like, oh, I've never had an online platform where people follow me before. Like, people are used to seeing me now for 3 years. I wasn't an online presence at all before that, and I didn't plan to be. It just happened. It was like happenstance. And then season two, the second season that I covered, I did 100 days in a row of this. 100 days. All right. But here's the other thing. Big Brother Boy is a Big Brother super fan. I don't classify myself as a Big Brother super fan, and I think that that's obvious. I like the show. Some people might call me a super fan just because of the fact that I watch the episodes, I take notes on the episodes, and I watch the feeds. I don't think that makes me a super fan. Super fans are really, really into the game. They're into the history of the game. I feel like he's a super fan. Like, the delivery, when you get past the delivery, you're like, this guy is really smart. Like, this guy understands the game so well. He has really good insights on the game. And when he's just being biased, he'll say that. Oh, well, I just don't like this person. So that's the reason why I just don't want to see them do well. But I have to admit that they are really good at what they do, but I just hate them, I don't even think it's just knowing the history, because I know people who know that. Like, for instance, my mom watches every season of the show from season one till now, and I don't consider her a super fan. Like, it's a really, to me, it's like a really deep love of the show to the point of borderline obsession with it. And I mean that in a complimentary type of way, because I would consider myself a challenge super fan. Other people might not think so, because I don't have one of those computer memories where I can remember every single thing. Like, you have to refresh my memory. But I've watched every season. I was all scrolling up on the computer because this is propped up on my computer. Dark. Yeah, he has I want to get a setup. I mean, no, I'm not doing shirtless streams though. I think the views would go up. I always talk about that. My next career after YouTube is going to be OnlyFans. 2000. Yeah, Big Brother wasn't even on my radar back then. In 2000, I was a hardcore Real World fan. And actually, even though I saw parts of the early challenge, I wasn't super into the challenge until I started watching, until the Real World people started going on the challenge. So I was just like, I was excited about the Real World, but then I was excited because I could still follow my Real World people. Because before, it was like they go on the show and then they get off and you never see them again. Now it was like, oh, now I can watch 10 seasons of Wes. I can watch 15 seasons of CT. I can watch X amount of seasons of this person or that person, you know? Oh yeah, I love the Real World and Road Rules. By the way, um, I'm gonna leave that one alone. 2000 in 2000, I was 13. I remember Y2K 1999 bought all these supplies. They said that all the planes were gonna have mechanical electric failures and they were gonna crash. The stock market was gonna crash and all the power was gonna go out and our computers were gonna stop working. And then it hit midnight and then, you know, life continued. It was kind of like when that dude made the rapture claim. Well, I've heard he's made a few of them, but I remember this most recent one. I don't know how long ago that was now. 10 years maybe. I don't know. That guy who said that there was going to be a rapture on this specific date, October something, and people sold their houses and donated all this money, and then it was like, oops, psych, I lied. I remember a bunch of Y2K episodes of my favorite cartoons too, like Futurama, The Simpsons. I can't remember if Family Guy was around at that time. Might have been. I don't remember if that was early 2000s or late 90s that that started. But I remember classic shows, Y2K episodes. Family Guy did do one. Probably South Park had one. I used to be a big South Park fan. My favorite episode of South Park to this day was the Kanye West episode. If any of y'all have seen that episode, hilarious, especially during the time when they released it. So funny. It was so funny. There was this joke that they made where it was like, "Do you like fish sticks?" And it was like well, I can't even call it a play on words. It's not like it was clever, but fish sticks said fast sounded like fish dicks. And so this joke now spread all around the world and it became really popular. And then somebody asked Kanye West, "Do you like fish sticks?" And he was like, "Yeah, I like fish sticks. I like the way that the fish sticks feel in my mouth." And they were like, "Oh, well, then you're a gay fish." And then he was like, "What? I'm a voice of a generation." You would have to see it. I can't even explain it. You would have to see it. But yeah, I actually do have to hop off because duty calls, and I don't mean duty calls like that. I mean, I'm 5 minutes away from having to clock in. Shout out to remote jobs because, well, they're cool in a sense, but they also make me lazy because normally if I had an 8 o'clock job, I would be up like 6:45. Well, I was up at 6:45, but I mean I would be up out of bed 6:45, probably make myself some breakfast. I'd have my clothes already the night before, and then yeah, I would get my stuff together. I'd have my work materials together, and then by like depending on how far away it was, I would probably leave 30, 40 minutes early, get myself out the door. When I was somebody who went in for work, I was always the first one there. I was always the first one there, and I was always the best dressed. So it's funny when people are like, "Mark, 90% of what you wear is tank tops." I'm like, this is a pandemic thing. Because if you saw me before this pandemic, I was an office worker. I always worked in the office, and I was overdressed because they would be like, "Oh, the dress code is business casual." And they'd be like, "Why are you walking into work in like a three-piece suit?" And everybody else is wearing like a t-shirt and slacks. And I'm like, I just developed this thing probably from watching my dad. Uh, he would get up early just for the out. He wouldn't pick up the outfits the night before. It was like a ritual for him, where he would be the first one up in the house, 6 o'clock in the morning. He would have like 5 suits laid out over the bed, and then he would have like 5, 6 different shirts and like 10 ties. He'd be holding up the shirt next to the tie, deciding on the pocket square, this and that. And I used to be like, this guy is wilding because I can barely even I could barely even get up on time for work. But he always told me that the way that you dress can impact the respect that you receive on the job. So I don't know what happened or what clicked in me one day, but one day I just dressed up for work, and then everyone was like, "Oh, I like your shirt." The way the clients were dealing with me was like, it was different. And then it started to become a thing, and I started to build up and buy more dress clothes. But then the pandemic happened, and I spent 6 to 8 months in sweats and a tank top every single day. Every single day. That's how I answered calls. The only time I would have anything else on aside from that is when we had Teams meetings on video. I would just quickly throw on a shirt, but it wasn't even anything much. I would just throw a t-shirt on for the most part. But yeah, so that's why now when people see me dressed up for things, they're like, "Oh, you can actually dress up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just that most of the time I don't need to because I'm sitting here in the house, or even if I'm not in the house, I'm not to the length of my dad to the extent of he will dress up to go to the grocery store. I'm not doing that. In an office setting, yeah, but to run errands, to walk down the block, no." Let me just read these real quick and then I'm hopping off. Typically overdressed, wanting to look respectable, suits with skirts or dresses always. Now everyone dumbs down for sure. I agree. I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel uncomfortable being overdressed, but I definitely feel uncomfortable being underdressed. I definitely do. I do not ever wear dresses. I'll wear a pantsuit. They simp and mark when they see you. I do gotta go. I do have a 15-minute, I guess you could call it grace period, but it's like the first 15 minutes you log in count as 8, and then up to 15 minutes that you stay after the clock counts as 4 because I'm 8 to 4. But anyways, yeah, hopping off. Talk to y'all later.